Bellwright is a captivating medieval town building game that merges survival elements with an engaging role playing aspects. Today, we dive into the core mechanics of Bellwright and give our first impressions on this game. I will give to them right off the bat is the intro to the game. When you boot up your first new game and you hear that narration, and even though a majority of it is still images with some sort of moving graphics and that kind of stuff, it still really gives you a sense of purpose that this is part of the RPG right away. It doesn't take its time introducing the RPG to you, it gives it to you from the get go. And then when you go into the world, you then start experiencing the survival mechanics, the town building mechanics. And I really enjoy that because it sets the story for you rather than making you self discover. Mind you, it still gives you little bits of lore here and there, and there is still a major quest line to follow, but it doesn't hold your hand. It just goes, this is the story. This is the great narration we put into it. Have fun with it now.
Even the quests are kind of choose your own adventure, how you help or how you don't help the town, and all in the efforts of getting the elders to appreciate you more. But what I loved about it is depending on who you're talking to, you get a different perspective on the lore. So it almost feels like it's one of those games that you could play the game differently and get a different scope on what the grand story is. And I thought it was very well done.
I'm already getting from this. We have immersiveness, we have a good RPG, we have great quest line, we have unique characters, and it looks like the graphics aren't half bad. But it is a town management survival game. I thought the survival mechanics of the game were kind of like what we talked about before, diet survival. There were reasons to make sure that you ate food, bonuses, buffs, and other situations, but it wasn't necessarily you trying to survive. It was more these are kind of nuances that you have to take care of every now and then. Building wise, the building system was moi. I loved
So good.
you would just walk around, folks, as you're building it, and there's these dots after you put the materials in it. And as you're clicking to add it, you can actually see the materials attaching. And your first building you build is like this stick shelter. And you can see yourself leaning the sticks up against itself and building it, putting the straw on it and everything. And it even happens when the NPCs in your town do it as well.
Mhm. When you pick a structure and you want to build it, it's a sketch. It looks like somebody charcoal drew it in a book, and you get the little floating sketch. Once you place it, it then shows a red X where you're building, and it has a supply pile and it has the build points like you were talking about. Well, the nice thing about that is if I'm already out gathering wood and I hear Dimensions building his hut, what do you need? Well, I need flax and sticks. There's flax in the field next to me. I can grab all the flax and sticks he needs while I'm out gathering my resources, bring it back, drop it off in the resource pile, and then all he has to do, he doesn't even have to pick them up from the resource pile. He just has to look at the piece that needs to get built next, hit a button, and you actually see it construct stick by stick by stick. And then that's when it feeds, like you said, to the NPCs, right? Because the NPCs could do all that. They can either do the building or they can do the resource gathering.
What's cool about the research or the tech tree in this is it really plays into the RPG, the survival, and the town management mechanics really well. It doesn't feel like it only favors one type over the other. You have to research your weapons, you have to research your buildings, you have to research things to make your NPCs around your town do better because they themselves can defend your town from raids or join you in your own raids against the bandits. And the tech tree is just fun to explore because for such an early access game, it's already quite expansive and it feels like a good natural progression. And it doesn't feel like I can progress through the rest of the game without ever touching the tech tree.
And they do a great job at incorporating that tech tree and the research into the town. Obviously, you're going to want to invest in different technologies if you're a mining town, different technologies if you're having constant problems with bandits and armies. And it gives you that option to spread out and extend. And there wasn't really a whole lot of question on what the research did. So you have the tech trees, the paths, certain stations you have to unlock with the research. And then when you're doing your town management, you set the buildings up and the jobs up by priority. You could even assign you're the researcher, you're the worker, you're the guard, and they will go ahead and help with the priority. If they can't progress on the research, then they'll go to priority two until they have the materials they need. The townspeople are your army. although you don't need to eat food every day, your villagers do, but you cannot play this game without your villagers. It is impossible.
You bring up a good point here. Let's talk about the cooperative mechanics in the game. I felt the cooperative mechanics in the game were really well done. I felt like when I was playing with you guys, I could have done this solo, but it would have taken me way longer to get the stuff done. And not in a grindy way, but more of a I played the game solo myself, let's be honest here. And I went a very different route. I did things very differently, and I still enjoyed the game. I did not feel like I was grinding. But when I played with you guys, the game was just as enjoyable, if not more. And I like that. Now that I've talked about the cooperative side of it, working together to build buildings, tech trees, stuff like that, the combat together was hilarious. Like, just the amount of effort we were putting into. Like, we were crossing the bridge, folks, and me and Jarl are spearheading the forward advance, and then we hear from behind us, our friend Dimension going, "Behind us! They're coming from behind us!" And we literally had a panic moment where we were being pincered from both sides. And I'm not going to say the AI is amazingly smart, but the fact that the AI was waiting in the bushes or doing a patrol or whatever and immediately thought to come after us rather than waiting for us to finish their friends is just fun. It made for a very good experience.
And the funny thing is, I did some researching because I was trying to figure out if it was a bug or not. We did get flanked. That wasn't just a patrol. They will flank you. They will cross the river up ahead and they will flank you. And I noticed it first when we finally made it across the bridge. Then we went up to the town. They did not engage us. It wasn't like they didn't know we were there. They stayed to defend their village. And then when we did finally start shooting on them, they scattered and we had a hard time seeing them. A couple archers went this way, a couple archers went this way, and the melee units snuck in behind Dimension while he was shooting them. Having that kind of strategy is so amazing. And it's the same AI that's given to your troops. If you have troops on guard and they're over here and they see the town getting attacked, they're not just going to go and charge straight into battle. They're going to use their strengths. They're going to flank. They're going to get positions of high ground, and they're going to coordinate with each other.
It seems like a very well rounded early access game. There's a lot going for it for its future, but I feel as a product right now, it actually does a very good job delivering on what it says inside the early access description. Now, we do let people know always make sure you look into the games and the developers and such before you buy these games, because it's always good to make sure that when you're buying a game, you're in it for the long haul. But do remember, Steam does have that 2-hour return policy. But I would suggest this game is quite a game I would enjoy playing more, and I think you folks would too.
Absolutely. Honestly, for the price it's at now, if it only evolved a little bit more and then capped off there, I still think it would be worth the money. Just the fun with friends, being able to sink a good 20, 30 hours in what's available right now, and then walking away from it and doing it again later. Very well done. Very well done.
Well, folks, thank you very much for joining us on the State of Survival First Impressions of Bellwright. Join me in thanking Jarl of Goats for being our co-host. Make sure to check out his Twitch channel down below. He often plays a lot of fun survival games and other games and has a brilliant chat versus stream. You might want to check it out. Also, don't forget to check out our producer, Red Falcon, for doing all the work behind the scenes and making sure our videos get out weekly. Thank you once again for watching State of Survival. Ta for now.
Bye.